I will invite a retired naval officer, chairman and managing director of Hindustan Salt Limited, Commodore Kamlesh Kumar. Commodore Kamlesh Kumar has served in the Indian Navy for 31 years and holds a wide experience in matters concerning human resource development, motivation, and other such HR-related fields. After taking up premature retirement from the Navy, he has been CMD of Hindustan Salts Limited and Sanghar Salts Limited for the last 1 year. During his tenure, both the companies have been turned around from loss-making units to profit-making organizations and are aiming to become Mini Ratna by 2023.
Thank you, Krishna Mishra ji, all the eminent panelists. Good evening. I'd only say that this addressing challenges for the future, the only common denominator is people. The technology will continue to change. The processes will continue to be revamped, reworked every day. But what is constant is people. If we all prepare our people to be ready for future, the rest battle becomes quite small. Now I'll start that recently Prime Minister has developed some, or rather promulgated something called NEP, National Education Program. Now the inputs that we get, they come from colleges, mostly BTech or the ITI qualified people. None of them are industry ready. Now it's our job to ensure that we send our people to these colleges, which is a part of NEP, get them industry ready so that the people that we get are fully employable and they can be put to work instead of going through different kinds of training and things. So my endeavor would be that while preparing for the future, we have to ensure that our recruitment and the preparation of these people from the engineering colleges and other places are given an impetus by the industry by sending our people to these industries and ensuring that certain modules are there which ensure that the people who are ready to join come prepared. Other aspect is that unlike corporates, the head of our family who's CMD, they keep changing 2 to 5 years, maximum 5 years is the tenure. I feel that the requirement for us to have a relationship within CPSUs or within the PSUs of a family. If we run the PSUs as a family, the most problems get solved. Because what is ailing us, or why are we running in losses, some of the companies, is because there's a lack of ownership amongst people who work. And unless we prepare each of our people to have complete ownership in the country, in the company, it would become difficult for the company to prosper. Now, I would say that the charity begins at home. The biggest task is for us as CMDs to ensure that we lead by example. What we expect our people to do, we have to do it ourselves. And what we do would get on with our directors. It will go down to the people and they'll imitate what we do. They'll be ensuring that what the good practices that is being followed gets passed on. So the requirement for us to have some kind of ownership, develop it in people and ensure that everybody in company feels that it is their family. And for that, each one of us have to not only use our brains, our intelligence, but we have to use our heart. Wherein there could be mistakes made by our people, there could be smaller difficulties created by them. We have to be large enough not only to punish them, but to overlook and give them a chance to prosper, give them a chance to correct themselves. Here I would say basics like, we have the philosophy of Ubuntu, where if a guy makes mistake, instead of belittling him, you bring him and ensure that what is his worth, what all is he capable of doing, so that his goodness is masking his bad properties or his bad qualities, and he's able to bring up himself. What I am bringing is that whatever I have seen in PSUs in last 1 year that I have spent in this and went to other PSUs, that the people who work, most of them feel कि government servant है, हम बाबू की तरह काम करेंगे, and that is where that is what it ails the PSUs. Unless everybody feels that his business is to ensure that the cost cutting of inputs is done. His business is to ensure whatever he does is profitable. His also job is to ensure whatever he does brings unity and peace amongst the people, amongst the employees. If these basics are not ensured by one and all, right from top to bottom, I don't think that we'll be ready for future challenges. To be ready for future challenges is that we have to be unified. There has to be a transparency. What CMD thinks, what he wants to happen, must go down to the last worker so that he must know what is he doing, what is it for, and what is its impact on the company. Moment this is known to a worker, to the last man, I don't think the company will have a problem. But the issue is that the thoughts and the vision of CMD, or the thoughts or the vision of the topmost people, do not percolate down to the last man. He is unable to translate it into his work. The middle level people, or to the down to the level, they are not able to understand that why is it that a particular change has come. That means we are not preparing our people. They are not ready for the future. If we want to address the future, we have to ensure that everyone vibrates, his heartbeat beats with the beat of CMD. What CMD feels, that feeling has to percolate down to everybody. Now, how do we create it is left on to our leadership. It is left on to our communication skills. It is left on to the kind of transparency and trust we have in people. I would simply say, long time back, when Gandhiji was there was no mass media, there was nothing. The Gandhi led the country by what? Personal example. What he did, people followed. He himself held a righteous life and everybody followed him. Similarly, what CMD does, what directors do, what the senior manager does, if they do right things, if they ensure there is a transparency, if they ensure there's no corruption at any level, if they ensure that everything that is spent for the benefit of country, for the benefit of company, I'm sure the message will go down, and there's no way our PSU, with the kind of infrastructure we have, will not come into profits. Each PSU would be ready for any challenge in the future. Now, coming to a few things, the values and ethics. If you talk of any houses, I would quote Tata's. The company does well only because it has got a constant value system. The ethics in Tata's are not diverse. They are not, liquidated. They are not brought down. If each of the PSUs do not have a fixed set of ethics and values, which is unviolable, nobody can violate them, it is difficult for us to progress. So our CMDs can come, our directors can come, our managers can come and go. But those values and the ethics of our companies, they have to they have to be rock steady. Anybody who comes, he has to derive his policies, he has to derive his everything from these values and ethics. So to me, we have to be as CMDs, we have to be custodians of these values and ethics. Without that, we might be having regulations, we might be earning profit, our top line, bottom lines could be rising. But our sustainability for the future, to take on future challenges, would be moving. It will not be stable. If we want to be ready for future, our ethics and values have to be grounded into every heart, every mind of the worker. And let me assure you, if that gets done through the the endeavor of CMD and others, there's no way that company will not prosper and that company is not ready for any kind of challenge for the future. Fortunately, the kind of freedom that CMDs have in all PSUs, one CMD can change the company and one CMD may not be able to change the company. It just depends that how much that leader who's there, who's got the complete power, has got a sovereign power, how much he is involved, how much he puts his heart and mind to it, and how much he loves his company. That love would get percolated and it will be flowing through the people. They will be, you take a step, they'll take 10 steps forward. Often, I have seen that we have developed a lot of respect for the Western things, or what we say, we have a Occidental mindset. There's a requirement for us to become Oriental. We have to get, stuck to our culture, the basics of our culture, and use that culture, because the people that we are working with, each one of them are grounded to the culture. We have to understand them. We have to go down to the level, and we have to make our policies, which is amenable to them, which suits them. It's our job as top notches, it's our job as top bosses to ensure that we reform those uh, policies, those regulations, which is finally brought down to the level of a worker, and the worker is able to understand and progress. Just I would say that often in decision making at top levels and below, there's a difficulty. People are always in a quagmire. What should I do? Is it right, wrong? Will auditors come and catch me? I would say to be future ready, there are 4 5 things we could say and we could tell everybody who has to take a decision. Is your decision going to cut input costs? Yes, it's a good decision. Is your profit going to get enhanced? Yes, it's a good decision. Is your profitability going to go up? Yes, good decision. Is it going to have any kind of theft, corruption, or personal benefit to anybody? Yes, then it's a bad decision. Please change the decision. Is it going to add peace, happiness, and unity amongst employees? Yes, it's a good decision. Is whole thing aligned with the laid down rules and regulations? Yes. If no, then you can bend the rules and regulations to ensure that these broad things are being done. Now, these are the places we find that most of our middle level, top level bosses hold on to files, hold on to decisions. When these basics are clear, no decisions would be held up, and we would be again ready for taking on any challenges for the future. There are a few more things I would say that what I have tried in my PSU, though I have just spent a year, there's a need for us to look after or invest in the health of our people. I am a yoga practitioner, and also build up their mental muscle by introducing them to some kind of meditation. Reason is they develop a compass, a bearing which is within them, in which they believe. And in case of all these turbulences and difficulties like what we had for pandemic during COVID, you cannot fall back to anybody but to yourself. And when your own self is strong, when you find there is a soul inside you from which you can draw your energy, there's a self-belief, you will find you are future ready to take on any challenge. These calamities will continue to come. The climatic changes, COVID, third wave, nobody knows fourth wave will come. If this goes, something else will come. The challenges are going to be there in future. There is no end to challenges. What we have to do is to prepare our people by use of yoga to remain healthy, by use of meditation to remain culturally and motivated and be very strong from within. If these two things are done, getting on to technology, which is changing every day, which we say learn, unlearn, and relearn, this process will continue. That everybody is ready to. But what people are not ready to is to ensure that the emotional quotient, the ability to withstand all these ups and downs of life, that is where we will be faltering in future. Will not be faltering for processes, will not be faltering for technology. Each one of us, each of our companies, each Indian can adapt to anything over a little time. But what we have been found wanted is our ability to withstand the challenges of life, which makes us stand like a man. And that is where we have to invest. And when we invest in the health of the people, in ensuring that they remain healthy, they remain strong from within, let me also tell you, it ensures that the financials of your country of your company becomes better. You'll be investing less in their health, you'll be investing less on their inner fights, you'll be finding that people are more aligned, they are calm at work, they'll be ensuring that 8 to 10 hours of time they invest in working better. Whatever I'm saying is not more of a lecture, but I would say I've tried this in my company. My company, since I'm a yoga practitioner, since I'm a motivational trainer also, entire company meditates together for an hour every week. We also do yoga, and we ensure, and I have seen that the cohesiveness amongst people, the togetherness, the happiness quotient has gone up. And during this COVID, I have had nobody who suffered from COVID. I made them do something called Jal Neti and things, and they all were perfectly fine. We worked for 365 days. We are the ones who have got almost 25% of profit, though it's a small company. But it all has worked. It has worked with the same people who are working in your company. It has worked in our company. I would say it's time for us to look inward instead of looking outward. It's time for us to strengthen our within than to go out. And it's time for us to strengthen each of our men by being transparent, by being falling back to our basics, and by ensuring that we be CMDs, be leaders, lead by example. With that, I finish. Thank you.